Good morning. Can you tell me your full name, please?
Good morning. Yes, my name is Rustam Nazarov.
Can I see your identification, please?
Yes, of course. Here it is.
Thank you. Right, Rustam. I'd like to begin by asking you some questions about social media. Do you use social media?
Yes, I use it quite a lot, actually. Maybe more than I should. I use Instagram mostly, and also Telegram. Telegram is very popular in my country. Almost everyone uses it for news, and also for communication with friends and family. I also sometimes use YouTube, but I think that is more for watching videos, so maybe it is different category.
Rustam's answer is relevant, and he gives good specific detail, naming particular platforms and explaining why they are popular. However, two grammatical errors appeared immediately. Everyone use it should be everyone uses it, third person singular agreement. And I also sometime use should be I also sometimes use. The adverb form is needed here. These are small but consistent error types to watch. How much time do you spend on social media each day?
Honestly, it is probably too much. If I think about it, maybe 2 or 3 hours every day, but it is not all at one time. I check my phone many times during the day, like in the morning when I wake up, during lunch, in the evening. I know it is a lot, but it has become a habit, I think. Sometimes I try to reduce, but it is difficult.
Good, honest answer with natural self-awareness. I know it is a lot shows he can express personal reflection. But it has become a habit is a grammatical error. It should be it has become a habit. This is a present perfect error. The auxiliary has is missing. This type of error is very common and affects accuracy scores. What kind of content do you usually look at on social media?
It depends on my mood, I think. Usually I look at posts from friends and family, photos, videos, what people are doing in their life. I also follow some pages about technology because I study engineering, so I find this interesting. And sometimes funny videos, just for relaxing. I also follow some English language learning accounts because I try to improve my English every day.
This is a well-structured answer. He categorized his content consumption naturally: social posts, professional interests, entertainment, and self-improvement. The phrase, what people are doing in their life, should be in their lives, plural, but this is a minor slip. Overall, this was one of his stronger Part 1 answers. Do you think social media has changed how people communicate with each other?
Yes, very much, I think. Before social media, if you want to contact someone who is living far from you, you must write letter or call by telephone, which was expensive. Now you can send message in 1 second to anyone in the world for free. In my case, my relatives are living in different cities, and we stay in contact easily through WhatsApp and Telegram. So for keeping family connection, it is very useful. But also, I think some people forget how to talk face-to-face because they are too much comfortable with typing only.
This answer shows real communicative ability. He gave a historical comparison, a personal example, and then a counterpoint. That structure is exactly what earns marks in fluency and coherence. Grammar issues, if you want to contact in a past hypothetical context, should be if you wanted to contact. Also, too much comfortable is incorrect. He needs just too comfortable. The word much is used incorrectly as an intensifier before adjectives. Too alone is sufficient. Are there any negative sides to social media that you have personally experienced?
Yes, I think so. One thing is that I waste time. Like I said, 2 or 3 hours per day, and when I think what I could do with this time instead, it is a lot. Also, sometimes I feel a little bit, comparing myself with others. Like when I see someone posting about their nice holiday or expensive things, I feel like maybe my life is not so good. I think this is common feeling for many people who use social media. And also sometimes there is false information spreading very fast, and it is hard to know what is true.
Excellent answer for Part 1. Rustam covered 3 distinct negative effects: time waste, social comparison, and misinformation. The social comparison point was particularly well expressed and showed genuine personal insight. His vocabulary was mostly natural. Comparing myself with others is slightly incomplete. I feel like I'm always comparing myself with others would be cleaner. Searching for the word comparing mid-sentence is fine and shows authentic communication rather than a rehearsed script. Do older people in your country use social media much?
It is changing, I think. When I was younger, social media was mainly for young people, but now my parents both have smartphones and they use WhatsApp every day for family group. My grandmother also, she is 68 years old and she uses Telegram for news. She says it is easier than buying newspaper. But I think older generation use it more for communication and news, and younger generation use it for everything, shopping, entertainment, career also.
Strong answer. The example of her grandmother is specific and memorable. Concrete examples like this always strengthen a Part 1 response. The ending distinction between older generation and younger generation usage patterns shows analytical thinking. Grammar was mostly clean here, though older generation use it and younger generation use it should be the older generation uses it and the younger generation uses it, missing article and third-person singular agreement.
Now I'm going to give you a topic, and I'd like you to talk about it for 1 to 2 minutes. You'll have 1 minute to prepare, and you can make notes. Here is your topic card. Describe a time when social media had a significant effect on your life. You should say when this happened, what platform or type of social media was involved, what happened exactly, and explain why this had a significant effect on you. Your 1 minute starts now. All right, please begin.
Okay, so I want to talk about something that happened to me about 2 years ago. It was quite a positive experience, actually. So at that time, I was trying to find information about master's degree programs in Europe because I wanted to study abroad, but I didn't know really where to start. The process felt very complicated and confusing. So I joined a group on Telegram. It was a group specifically for students from Central Asia who were applying for universities abroad. And in this group, there were maybe, I think, 300 or 400 members, all people in similar situation to me. And the information sharing was incredible. People would post about scholarships, about application deadlines, about which universities are good for engineering, about visa process, about accommodation, things that you cannot easily find on official websites. I remember one specific moment. Someone in the group posted about a scholarship that I had not heard before, a fully funded scholarship for engineering students. I applied for it and actually I was not successful in the end, but through researching this scholarship, I found another similar one and I am now in the application process for it. So indirectly, that Telegram group changed the direction of my plans completely. The reason this was so significant for me is that before I joined this group, I felt quite alone in this process. My family support me very much, but they don't know about international universities, so they cannot give specific advice. But in this group, I find people who understood exactly what I was going through, and they share their experience generously. It made the whole thing feel more possible. And also, I made some online friendships with people from different countries who are also preparing for IELTS. We sometimes practice English together over voice call, which is helpful for my preparation.
Do you think online communities can replace the support that people get from family and friends in real life?
I don't think they can fully replace, no. The support I get from my family is different. It is more emotional, more deep. But I think online communities can provide something that family and friends sometimes cannot, especially when your situation is very specific. My family love me, but they cannot advise me about university applications in Europe. For that specific support, online community was more useful. So I think both can exist together and serve different purposes rather than one replacing the other.
Part 2 was Rustam's strongest section. He spoke for approximately 1 minute and 50 seconds, very close to the target. The story was genuine and well-structured. He set the scene, described the community, gave a specific memorable moment, and then explained the emotional and practical significance. That is exactly the 4-point structure the cue card asked for. Errors to note: something that happened to me should be that happened to me. Past simple required. I found people should be I found people. They share should be they shared. The pattern of dropping past tense in narrative context continued from part 1. However, the quality of ideas and the coherence of the story would still push this answer toward band 6.5, despite those errors. The follow-up answer was balanced and well-reasoned.
Now, I'd like to discuss some broader questions about social media. Do you think social media companies have a responsibility to protect their users from harmful content?
Yes, definitely I think so. These companies are making enormous profit from users, billions of dollars. So they have also responsibility to make sure the platform is safe. The problem is that harmful content like misinformation or content that is promoting violence or depression in young people, this content spreads very fast because it generates a lot of engagement, and more engagement means more money for the company. So there is conflict of interest, I think. Companies should have stronger system for identifying and removing this kind of content, but at the same time, I understand it is technically very difficult to do at such large scale.
Very good part 3 opening. Rustam showed he understands the financial motivation behind content moderation failures. The conflict of interest point is sophisticated and accurate. His vocabulary was strong here. Enormous profit, conflict of interest, engagement. Grammar error, stronger system should be a stronger system, missing article. Also, content that is promoting should be content that promotes. Present simple is more natural in this relative clause context. But overall, this was a confident, well-reasoned answer. Some people say that social media has made it harder for people to form deep, meaningful relationships. Do you agree?
I think partly yes. I think social media gives us quantity of connection, but maybe not always quality. Like I have maybe 400 followers on Instagram, but I would not call most of them real friends. They're more like acquaintances, I suppose. And I think sometimes people confuse having many online connections with not feeling lonely. But actually they can feel very lonely still, because those connections are not deep. But on the other hand, I think for people who are shy or who live in remote areas or who have very specific interests, social media can actually help them find genuine connection that they might not find in their immediate environment. So it is complicated. It depends on how you use it.
This was Rustam's best part 3 answer. He introduced the quantity versus quality distinction naturally and gave a personal example to support it. He also acknowledged the other side of the argument, social media helping shy people or those with niche interests, which shows the kind of balanced thinking that earns higher marks. He used acquaintances correctly, which is a good vocabulary choice. Minor issue, not feeling lonely in context should be not being lonely. Slightly awkward phrasing, but the ideas were clear and the answer was well structured. How do you think social media affects young people's mental health?
I think the effect can be quite serious, especially for teenagers. There is a lot of research now showing connection between heavy social media use and anxiety and depression in young people. And I think the reason is not just the time wasted, but more the constant comparison. When you see everyone else looking happy and successful online, you start to think your own life is not good enough. But of course, people only share the best parts of their life online, so it is not a realistic picture. And for young people who don't have enough life experience to understand this, it can really damage their self-esteem. I also think the design of these apps is intentional. They're designed to make you keep scrolling, keep watching, and this kind of addictive quality is particularly harmful for developing brains.
Strong answer with good factual grounding, mentioning research, explaining the mechanism of social comparison, and adding the point about app design being intentional. That last point about addictive design shows he has thought beyond surface level. Grammar issues, not realistic picture should be not a realistic picture. Missing article, again, the same recurring error. Showing connection between should be showing a connection between. The article problem is his most consistent grammatical weakness throughout this test. Should governments regulate social media platforms more strictly?
This is quite difficult question. On one side, yes, I think governments have responsibility to protect citizens from harms that social media can cause, like spreading of false information during elections or the radicalization of young people by extremist groups. These are serious problems, and companies have shown they cannot always solve them by themselves. But on the other side, government regulation of social media can easily become a tool for censorship, especially in countries where government is not fully democratic. They might use regulation to silence opposition or to control information that citizens can access. So I think the answer depends very much on which government and which country we are talking about. In democratic countries with strong rule of law, I think more regulation could be beneficial, but it is not simple universal solution.
This was an impressively nuanced answer for a band 6.5 target student. He acknowledged both sides of the argument and, crucially, added a sophisticated caveat about how the same regulation can mean very different things depending on the political context. The phrase radicalization of young people by extremist groups shows strong vocabulary. Errors, quite difficult question should be quite a difficult question. Article missing for the third or fourth time. Spreading of false information is slightly unnatural. The spread of false information would be more idiomatic, but the quality of the argument was genuinely impressive. Do you think social media will become even more dominant in people's lives in the future, or will people eventually turn away from it?
I think in short term, it will definitely become more dominant. Technology is advancing, more people around the world are getting internet access, and these platforms are becoming more sophisticated in how they keep people engaged. Things like short video content and live streaming, which are very addictive. So I don't see it decreasing in near future. But I also think there is a growing movement of people, especially educated young people in Western countries, who are becoming more aware of the negative effects and are deliberately reducing their social media use or even deleting accounts completely. This is still quite a small group, but I think awareness will grow. Maybe in 10 or 15 years, if the harms become more clearly documented and more widely discussed, we might see a shift, like what happened with smoking. It was very popular and socially normal, and then gradually people understood the risks and behavior changed. Maybe social media will follow similar pattern.
The smoking analogy at the end was excellent, original, well-constructed, and genuinely persuasive. This kind of analytical comparison is exactly what distinguishes a band 6.5 to 7 candidate from someone lower. His speculative language was also appropriate. I think, maybe, might see, all correctly used for uncertain future predictions. Grammar, quite small group should be quite a small group, and follow similar pattern should be follow a similar pattern. The article omission is appearing consistently throughout all three parts, which confirms it is the single most important grammar area for Rustam to address before his exam. Finally, do you personally feel that your life would be better or worse without social media?
Honestly, I think in some ways better and in some ways worse. Better because I would have more time. Those 2 or 3 hours every day could go to reading, exercising, learning new skills. And I would probably feel less anxious because I wouldn't be constantly comparing myself with others or checking how many likes my posts are getting. But worse because I would lose access to a community and to information that has genuinely been useful to me, like the Telegram group I mentioned earlier. And also I would lose easy contact with friends who are now living in different countries. So I think the honest answer is life without social media would be different, not simply better or worse. The problem is not social media itself, but how I use it. If I could use it more intentionally and less compulsively, that would be the ideal situation. I am working on this.
A strong closing answer that circles back to his Part 2 story. Good coherence across the whole test. The self-awareness in the final sentences, acknowledging that the problem is his usage pattern rather than the platform itself, shows maturity and genuine critical thinking. Vocabulary highlights, intentionally, compulsively, anxious, well-used words. The answer was also honest and personal rather than generic, which always strengthens a response. Minor grammar, how many likes my posts are getting is slightly colloquial but acceptable at this level. Thank you very much, Rustam. That is the end of the speaking test.
Thank you, David.